Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Brew with Memli. In this video, I'm going to show you how to brew different roast profile of the same exact coffee. As you know, we roast differently for filter and espresso, but ultimately you can use both in any machine. You can always use our espresso roast, or as I call it, light medium for pour over, and you can use a light roast, which are often used for filter or pour over, but on espresso you need to make some adjustment, but everything is possible. Now here I'm going to show you with the same exact coffee, just two different roast profiles. What do I change in my brew to make those two coffees tasting delicious? First of all, let's talk about the coffee. Here we have our latest drop, a washed SL28 from Finca Tamana in Villa, Colombia. And it's a wonderful coffee because you have this nice SL28 characteristic, but with the Colombian soil and the expertise of Elias Roa as a producer. So this coffee is really pure bliss, simplicity in the process, but very complexity in the cup of coffee. The roast, let me get my info and I'll put those information somewhere in the video. So we have 9 minutes of total roast time for my light roast and 9 minutes 22 seconds for my light medium, with the main difference being a minute and 7 seconds on my light one and a minute of 21 seconds on my light medium. The end temperature also changed from a 207 degrees Celsius to 208 degrees Celsius for my espresso roast or light medium roast as well. Now, what I'm gonna modify here is mostly the way I'm brewing it, right? Let me get my water and let's start the process immediately. So I ground here 15 grams of coffee. For my light roast, I did a 8.5 on my reading, which is approximately my cupping setting. For the light medium roast, I increased it to a 9 on my reading, so a little bit coarser. For the classic light, I'm going to do my classic recipe of 4 pours of 60 grams of coffee. Now for this one, I'm going to change it. I'm going to use actually the switch method. So I'm going to start with a 50 grams pour. So we're going to reduce that amount. Why? Because the texture will be highlighted during the immersion aspect. For the light roast, I'm really going to do my classic, more aggressive in the beginning and slightly less after, with relatively fast pour. Always 40 seconds of bloom, but here I put 50 grams first. I'm gonna do another 50 until 100. At 1 minute 10, 1 minute 15, since this is coarse, you'll see I will do my third pour for my filter. Now here at 110, what I'll do is closing the valve and doing a full immersion all at once until 230. That's also the second difference here. We have a 1 to 16 ratio versus a 1 to 15 ratio, or 15.5 to be exact. At 1 minute 43-ish, my last pour until 240. So that change, we really emphasize a different aspect of that coffee. Because this one was developed more, I'm going to highlight that texture with a stronger ratio and a slight immersion for just about 50 seconds, 40 seconds, 45 seconds. So at 1 minute 55, I open the valve. Well, with this one, because it's really bright, because it's really light, I'm going to push it to 1 to 16 to really extract a little bit more and get a nice balance of florality, delicacy, and sweetness. And we are almost done at the same time, but I started earlier here. So we are done at 242. and 228. So there's a uh, good 15 seconds difference. Let's chill it a little bit and come back with some test results. Before we start smelling tasting, there's a lot of other things we could have done, right? We could have used different water temperature. That's true. Or different filters, right? I use a classic Cafe Abaca filters here. I could have used for example, the T90 for the light medium, and for the light, maybe the T83 or the Siberist. But the only other thing I could have done is to change the minerality of my water by adding slightly less bicarbonates here, and I can have more calcium on my light roast. All right, so on the nose, very floral, almost herbal. Nice, and a nice sweet finish, maple syrup, some milk chocolates. Nice fruitiness here as well, nice sweetness. So a little bit more floral, a little bit more delicate, and still a florality, but much more on that sweet approach. All right, let's taste. Yummy. And something I love about this coffee is that it's really a simple wash showcasing so much complexity. You have the florality of almost herbal aspect of it, but it's not predominant. It's really in the beginning when you taste it that transform into some nice tangerine sweetness. And the finish is beautiful. Maple syrup, even some milk chocolate. In the aftertaste, it's very funny. I can taste sort of two layers of aftertaste. One is when it passed through your throat, that's more maple syrupy, and then you have the, should we call it after breath? I don't know, that remaining of aromas, and that is more milk chocolatey to me. So it's interesting. You have that florality, fruitiness, mapley, milk chocolates. You have the full spectrum. Very delicate, juicy texture. As expected here, it's much more, it's very creamy. We went from a light medium body to a heavy body here. Borderline creamy. Brightness is still there. It's more on a medium versus medium high here. And that results in the flavors, right? We have emphasized much more that maple syrupy chocolatiness on this cup. You still have the florality, the fruitiness, and a very nice tangerine sweetness, but definitely slightly less floral. And as it cools down, you can taste a little bit more balance with more florality. That's why we went coarser here. And one thing we could have done is the mineral, maybe lowering the temperature. I come back to that idea. That can highlight and extract maybe more that florality without extracting too much of that syrupiness. Even though we finish at 2 minutes, what was it? 2:38, 2:40 something, and then 2 minutes 28. Very, very crowd pleasing cup of coffee, complex. And in this one, beautiful. As it cools down, it is so complex. You have those nice floral, clementine, tangerine, yellow, orangey fruits, but without too much kick, too much zest, and a very smooth maple syrup in the aftertaste. And then the finish, you have some nice milk chocolate. Wonderful coffee. So that's how I do to brew my different roast profile on pour over. To sum up, we used here our Finca Tamana SL28 washed coffee, our newest drop, on our light profile, we did our classic 4-pour structure, slightly more aggressive. Now for our light medium profile, what we did is a 3-pour structure with 2 equal pours of 50 grams, both using 15 grams of coffee, and then an immersion until 230. So that's also the second thing. We use a stronger ratio for our light medium, slightly more classic, a 1:16 on our light roast. And the grain size, we went slightly coarser on our light medium roast. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any question, feel free to let me know, and see you next time for more coffee.